All right, let's call in the senator, okay? Senator, come on in. Oakland County Republican Senator Jim Runestad sits on the Senate Budget Committee. He's introduced legislation to prevent lawmakers from leaving office and immediately becoming a lobbyist. He served 2 terms in the Michigan House before heading to the Senate. He was an insurance agent and holds an education degree from Central Michigan University. That's straight gin, Senator, so be careful.
Good, that's
okay?
exactly what I was
Welcome to the check in. What is it from 1 to 10?
Oh, I would say 6, 7.
6 or 7. All right, so we have 4 people wrong. All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
let's jump in there real quick since we were just talking about it. Is it a procedural concern from your point of view, or a policy concern, or both? Walk us through your thoughts on the governor's executive order.
I would say it is both. What I heard in terms of the testimony yesterday is there was a lot of passion about the DEQ running roughshod over individual rights and rights of little communities and not following their procedures and making things up on the fly, not getting back to people. So heard a lot of testimony about what created the panels. And then procedurally is absolutely an issue because there's people who, Republicans who even a few voted against this as a policy, but 100% were outraged that she felt with a executive order she could come in and just rewrite the legislation. That's not what an executive order is for, is that she could come in and just say, well, this is part of the law, so I'll just strike that and I'll strike this. That's not permissible under the Constitution.
Did she make a mistake by not giving you folks a heads up?
Absolutely. Here we are right out of the chute when she has an ability to really reach out to the legislature and make a huge difference to say, hey, what can we work on together? And she starts by striking out legislation that was signed by the governor, passed by the legislature. That's just, not only is it poor in terms of how she did it, but I don't think it's even legal.
Senator, can you talk about, you voted for both of these commissions as a state House member last year, didn't you? The oversight for permits and for rulemaking within the Department of Environmental Quality. Why did you vote yes on this? What's wrong with the DEQ just being able to issue permits and rules as they have been without having some oversight board making sure everything's okay?
If you listen to the testimony yesterday, which was lengthy, we heard story after story of little individuals. You hear, well, this big company did this or that, or wants to have a review. There was little individuals. There was a lot of little municipalities that were promised this is the way this permit's going to be done, and then it was drawn out. It was pulled back, jeopardizing projects that they had. So this gives an individual an opportunity to go in front of this panel and at least make their case.
But does it give the panel veto power over the department to undo what the department thinks should be done?
My understanding from my looking at it is it doesn't give them veto power. That they could go in front of the panel, but the final analysis is going to be, or final decision is going to be by the governor.
You can see this is her department.
It is her department, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't put laws in place signed by the governor that make that change, and that is, from everything I understand, is legal, is constitutional.
Do you think the Senate should vote on this right now to reject that?
We are going to wait until we see how negotiation goes. My feeling is that of all the issues that we have on auto no fault and roads and all these things that she talked about, this was not a big issue that she discussed or talked to about the voters, are these panels. And out of the chute, this is the shot across the bow to the legislature saying she's going to undo what the legislature did. I have a feeling that there's going to be negotiation and that there's going to be some kind of an agreement.
Senator, changing the subject slightly, you are very interested about stopping the revolving door between politicians exiting the legislature and taking lucrative lobbying jobs immediately. This goes on and on and on, and we've just seen recent examples of it in the last month or so. So what's going on there?
Well, currently in Michigan, and it's one of the few states you can do this, you can leave the legislature, you can go walk right out the door and become a lobbyist. You can become a lobbyist in the industry that you oversaw. As a chair of a committee, you have enormous influence in that industry to be able to pass or hold up bills. Now, has anyone done that? I have no evidence of a chair or a legislator going and talking to an industry and cutting a deal, but sometimes things can be done very subtly. We would never know. The problem is the public is not going to know if there is something untoward going on in the corridors of Lansing. What this bill would do is say when you leave the legislature, you have to wait 2 years as a member, House or Senate member, 3 years as a chair before you could take a job as a lobbyist.
Senator, let me play devil's advocate here real quick. For instance, Senator Dave Hildenbrand chaired the Senate Appropriations Committee, immediately got a job with a multi-client lobbying firm. He was forced out by term limits. Why shouldn't he be able to find a livelihood any way he can?
Well, there's a lot of different types of jobs that you can take where there isn't the appearance of potential impropriety. If that individual is really somebody who's got that skill set that really can do that job, having a cooling off period like most states is not a bad thing. They're still going to want that individual. So you wait a period of time just so that everybody feels comfortable. There was nothing done in getting that job that should not have been done that the public is not going to know about. There is no way over drinks or in the corridors of power that they're going to be able to know what was cutting that deal.
Senator, how many co-sponsors did you get?
I think 4, but I put it on the floor with not a lot of time before I had to get it over to the clerk. So I didn't walk around and line up. You
would concede that others have tried and failed, correct?
Yes, I have been told by legislators that they want to be a lobbyist, and so they're not going to sign on. So,
well, I guess that takes.
I did a lot of reporting. There's, I think, what are we at? A handful of lawmakers right now, and some Snyder officials have gone into lobbying. Almost every one of them co-sponsored or voted for a cooling-off period bill in the past. So people are on record supporting and then going ahead and getting jobs anyways. Would you do that?
I cannot see me being a lobbyist. I don't even think that's even in my DNA. No, I think I'd probably be one of the last ones to be going into lobbying.
So if somebody dangled a $500,000 a year job in front of you, you would turn it down.
Well, I don't think that I'm going to be getting any job offers for a lobbyist, but what I do think is that this proposal, if it passes, and I hope it does, takes all of this off the table, that this isn't a decision people have to make because they're going to be forced to wait a period of time, and I think that will benefit the state of Michigan. We're 50 out of 50 in transparency. We need to do more things to give the public confidence that we really are at forefront and leading on these things, not behind.
What committee is it in right now?
I believe General Operations.
Okay, have you talked to the chairman? Do you think you're going to get a hearing on this?
I had one of the busiest weeks this week. I haven't had time to go around to different committee chairs, and there's a number of bills I put in. I just haven't had time to get to
that
the
would be
chairs.
Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey, who chairs that committee.
It would, but I haven't had time even to talk to him.
Let's talk about one of those bills that has taken up a lot of time, having to do with mail theft. I had no idea so many Amazon packages were being pilfered from people's front porches. Did you say 17,000 yesterday?
17,000 a year in Michigan, and on top of that, hundreds of drugs. They find out where veterans live, and they assume that they are getting the kind of drugs that they want to pilfer, so they go and I think it was 400 of those drug thefts. All kinds of letters being stole. We heard testimony from the Postal Department that one of the thieves, when they went into his house, he had a whole list of, I have to go back and get the Social Security number at this house, I need a maiden name. So he had a complete matrix of all the theft, and his house is full of mail.
Basically a career crook here.
Oh yeah, and this is going on.
How are you going to stop it?
Well, right now, it's illegal on the federal level with some strong penalties, but not on the state level. It's the same as if you took somebody's rake off the yard, and I mean, you could devastate someone's lives. They were stealing IDs and just ruining entire lives. So my bill puts some teeth into it. It will be against state law to steal any kind of mail, and it's a misdemeanor on the first charge, and it will become a felony on the second.
Realizing that you can't completely eliminate the pension tax in one fell swoop, if that's an accurate statement, would you favor a phase out of the pension tax?
We're sitting down with Treasury Department and all different departments. This is maybe going to be one of the bigger lists that I'm going to have to deal with as the chair of finance, because I don't know if you watched the testimony with David Zinn, and it's very complex. And so we're trying to find something that can roll back the pension tax, but also we're going to have a lot of complaints from people who have a private pension or 401k and IRA saying, hey, so we're going to have a carve out. So we're really working and taking our time. We're going to listen to every stakeholder to make sure we get this right.
Let me try again. So would you like to, if you could, if the numbers add up, do it right away and get rid of it, or phase it out?
I would like to do it right away, but like I said, it's maybe broader based than just private or public pensions.
Well, you're going to have to, or you're not going to get votes.
You're right.
Well, is it also because of money? $320 million a year the state is getting from this right now, right?
Yes, but like I said, there's so many complexities with the tax law of how you can do that. With categories of people, you can cap up to a certain amount of income. So there's so many ways. It's not just you roll it back is the only option. There's almost unlimited options.
But broadening this thing could be quite a bit more expensive too, right? If you're going to talk about IRAs and 401ks.
You're right. So it may not be everybody gets what they want. It may be a much smaller rollback, but a much broader rollback.
It would be tougher too, because the Senate Majority Leader, the Senate Majority Floor Leader, and the House or Senate Appropriations Committee Chair actually voted for the pension tax back in 2011. So they've already been on record supporting what you want to undo.
Well, I think if we can broaden it out, and again, it's going to take some time, I think we're going to have support for this. And then it's going to go to the governor, and she'll see what the numbers are and what it looks like, and can we get this in the overall budget. But it's not going to be a simple process. It's going to take a lot of time to get it done right.
Senator, can you stay and play overtime?
Yes.
Let's do that. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Come back to WKAR.org for more of our conversation with the good senator.